I'd like to welcome to the stage our next guest. It's Chris Hamilton from Genvid to talk about Miles as a bridge to the Metaverse. Chris, come on up.
Welcome to this presentation on massively interactive live events as a bridge to the Metaverse. I'll cover a little bit about Genvid technologies. I'll talk about massively interactive live events, or what we call Miles. And then I'll jump into case studies of Pac-Man Community and Rival Peak, which were multi-million-dollar projects that we had with Facebook. Genvid Technologies was founded in 2016 by some Square Enix veterans. They worked at Shinra Technologies, which was Square Enix's cloud computing division, and they were looking at new forms of gameplay that could happen with distributed processing power. Genvid is a US-based startup. We've got offices in New York, Montreal, LA, Tokyo, London, and Berlin. We've raised $166 million to date. You can see our investors on the bottom of the slide. I'll point out Galaxy Interactive and Makers Fund because we have people from both of those funds on our board. We also have amazing advisors that are a thrill to work with, like ex-Square Enix CEO Chiwata, digital media executives Matt Ball and Andrew Schneider, Anna Sweet, who was instrumental in building Valve and Steam into what they are today. She's also the head of studio at Bad Robot Games. Cindy Holland, who was VP for original content at Netflix, and JT Gleason, who was at Twitch for more than 8 years, leading both partner and developer relations. And these are great people that are sort of helping us move things forward. Our mission is to power the future of interactive media, and we believe that people love shared experiences, particularly when their participation and their input matters. So be it gaming, sports, reality TV, these are those moments that become those water cooler moments in the office, or basically what we've been chatting about on the random channel in Slack the last 2 years. We are already working with top-tier platforms, leagues, and events to create these amazing experiences. We believe that interactive media will double the market size of the game industry. This chart by Superdata shows the market growth in orange for games, and then the interactive media market in pink, and pink is growing faster. Until recently, game developers really didn't have a way to use interactive streams other than as a marketing tool, hoping that users would kind of go from those streams into their games where they could monetize them. With Genvid, you can actually be part of both of those markets, and you can sort of monetize them in both of them. And here, game developers can offer more immersive, interesting viewing experiences. Interactivity is the future of mass media content, and massively interactive live events, again, what we call Miles, are the next step in this evolution. We're turning passive viewers into active participants and disrupting traditional broadcast experiences by offering increased interactivity and better viewing experiences for a wider possible audience, all through our Genvid Miles SDK and support services. And I quite love the example in this slide. It gives you kind of an example of the direction we're going in. This is like a nature documentary where people in the audience can be engaging and maybe controlling the weather, or maybe somehow impacting predators. It could be a rock concert where people are engaging with that music, and it could be booing that band off the stage, or kind of cheering things up, or winding things up, and kind of pushing up the tempo for events that are happening. So Miles are cloud-powered, highly engaging, interactive live broadcast events that allow anyone to be part of a larger audience while directly participating in a meaningful way. Miles combine the best of lean-forward gaming, lean-back TV, and the thrill of entertainment. And here the audience will matter, and each individual can decide their level of input. You can just kind of lean back and watch it like it's TV and chill, or you can lean forward and actually give inputs and shape the narrative and shape the story and shape the event that you're watching. So you decide your own level of involvement or influence. What we're doing is new. And we're often confused with other trends, so I find that it's actually very helpful to explain what Genvid is not. We're not a streamer tool. We're very much focused on creating viewer experiences. So we want to work with developers to create viewer-centric experiences and new forms of gameplay and entertainment. We're not cloud computing. We are native cloud streaming. We scale more cheaply than multiplayer servers. Cloud computing is expensive. Google is the king of giving away things for free. They cannot give Stadia away for free. They have to charge people to use it. We're also not a platform. We're not competing with Twitch. We are a Twitch preferred partner. We have been working with them since 2016 when the company was started. We helped them create their extension program. We also have games on YouTube. We have games on Facebook. All of these platforms have different audiences. And we feel it's important to give developers the opportunity to get their game on the platform that best fits their game. So how do we do this? People go to stadiums, they go to live events because they want to enjoy a richer experience. And they get that through understanding what they are watching. There's a level of competency that people have. So what we're trying to do is create these experiences and give people competency. So if you're watching sort of video games, and this is why we don't really believe in streamers. Streamers just give you the player perspective. If you're watching a game on Twitch, if you don't play that game yourself, you honestly really don't have an idea of what's going on. Game developers are in a position to actually put cameras in different angles, give people a bigger perspective of what's going on. We have an HTML5 overlay on top of that video stream that allows people to pull up various information on the players that are in the game, things that could be in their inventory, real-time maps that show where players are so that you can see how players are interacting with one another and working as a team. So suddenly, all of the strategy and tactics that you wouldn't see from a streamer, you can get from our SDK and what we're building here. Jumping to the middle, games are constantly evolving. They're in a state of live ops. They're changing. And so by letting the fans, letting the people know what's going on, they have an understanding of what's going on. And this is really super important for onboarding sort of new users. And then finally, on the screen to the right, this is what game developers normally think of first, and that is reaching out, actually touching the game, where you can throw a player a lifeline by giving them extra health or setting traps or somehow getting in their way. So Pac-Man community launched on December 6, 2021. It's a collaboration between Genvid Technologies, Bandai Namco Entertainment, and Facebook Gaming. There's a QR code here that you can scan with your phone and jump right in. Mark Zuckerberg at launch said, quote, "You'll be able to play this classic game with friends, watch creators play, build your own mazes. Gaming is a big part of the metaverse, and I'm looking forward to seeing games like this become more interactive and more immersive." He also added that the technology that powers these experiences, namely Genvid, is serving as a bridge to the metaverse. Facebook Games is bringing the pillars of play, watch, connect together, which bridges playing games, watching gaming video, and connecting with others around games to create a richer experience between people and build community. Everybody knows Pac-Man gameplay, so I'm not going to show that, but here's a quick peek at the maze creator, colors, tools, all the things that people can use. As of last Friday, we had over 11,000 mazes that were made. This is in 3 months. This just gives you a little bit of the creativity that people are using on the mazes. I think it's pretty cool. This is the watch mode here. This is basically an experience where hundreds or thousands of viewers are interacting with an AI Pac-Man. At this point, they can kind of boost the Pac-Man or boost the ghosts and kind of determine which side might have an advantage. Many more features are coming. Think of various things that could get dropped into this or other interactions. What we're doing is we're creating an interplay between the people in the watch mode and the people in the create mode. So the more people that engage with watch will unlock more features for the creators. And then as more mazes are created, they will in turn unlock more features in the watch section. So we've had a lot of player-viewer engagements. As of Friday, we had 3.7 million unique users. This has generated a lot of interest, and a lot of other Japanese companies that have classic video game IPs actually reached out to us with a spreadsheet saying, hey, we have other games, maybe you want to work with us. And this is really us being a bridge to the metaverse. It's really about creating immersive, interactive engagements that build community. Most importantly, it's about accessibility. Here, everybody knows Pac-Man. There's nothing to learn. This is a co-op version of Pac-Man. Even if you're really not good at Pac-Man, there are 3 other players in that multiplayer mode that will help you clear levels. Create and watch don't actually require any skill. This is all cross-platform. It works on PC or mobile. It works on really any screen with an internet because this is all streaming from the cloud. So Fortnite will talk about having amazing experiences and concerts and everything in that, but if you do not have a computer powerful enough to run Unreal Engine, you cannot actually be in that experience. Because this works on low-end Android devices, we're very powerful in emerging markets. We've got high audiences in Mexico, Brazil, India, places that developers have wanted to get into, but can't, places that like people that have video game IP basically haven't been able to reach those audiences because these are audiences that don't have consoles. This is all proven technology and it works today. So Rival Peak, and I've done talks specifically on Rival Peak in the past. It ran from December 2nd, 2020 to March 3rd, 2021. This is a massive interactive live event that is more along the lines of community-driven narrative. It basically has 3 components, which is a Facebook instant game. It is a persistent world. This world is similar to the reality show Big Brother. where the audience can watch and follow all the contestants, in this case, sophisticated 12 AIs. And this was all developed by a studio called Pipeworks Studios. And the audience votes for these characters by audience participation events, what we call apes. And these are various interactions that viewers can have with the live stream. The contestant AI with the least number of interactions or the lowest score at the end of the week was eliminated. So the audience actually votes by engaging with the instant game. Rival Speak was a Facebook Watch original companion show that was hosted by Will Wheaton, and this section of it was more like Lost. It had a very crazy, insane storyline, a lot of conspiracy theories. This was more than just a wrap-up show. This was an opportunity for Will to sort of interview some of these AI characters, bring more of the backstory into everything, and kind of talk about what a lot of the audience participation meant during that week and where the show was going in the future. Then there was also the Facebook platform itself. Rival Peak had its own page. All the individual characters had their own page. Lots of users were engaging with those pages themselves. There used to be a time when people would sort of live tweet what was going on with Game of Thrones and this sort of thing. This was all happening right on Facebook's platform. Again, the project ran for 13 weeks, December 2nd, 2020 to March 3rd. More than 100 million minutes being watched. 55 times the amount of minutes between weeks 1 and week 3. Probably better to look at week 4 because from weeks 1 to 3, we were not really doing marketing so much as just testing for stability and bugs. And these are the types of audience engagement that people could have. So you'd have dialogues where people could just sort of follow asynchronously what was going on with everything. At the same time, there were events and various votes. You could vote on what the daily weather was going to be. You could vote, should these two AIs have some sort of romance go on, or should somebody divulge some sort of deep secret and build the drama behind the whole story? So all of the users were giving input that would shape the whole story. And then there were contestant votes where you'd have these participant AI standing on the screen kind of looking off like, what should I do next? And then all the audience could like sort of engage with that and vote and give them a direction. And that sort of moved all these characters through the world and helped the narrative unfold. There were project power-ups, which are basically like little idle tapping games. Match 3 games and memory games were ways that the audience would actually also participate and get involved in these audience participation events. And then we added things to help gamify the experience as the weeks progressed. Maps to help the fans understand the world that they were living in, achievements and leaderboards to sort of nudge some audience behavior. And then people love match 3, so we created these tribute challenges so people could just keep playing the match 3 and playing the match 3, and then offering tribute in the form of tools or food to the contestants, or maybe some evil surprises. So here's some basic demographics. Top 5 countries were the US, Mexico, Brazil, India, and the Philippines. Again, streaming from the cloud works very well on low-end Android devices. This experience was much more like a casual game, similar to the hidden object puzzle adventure games I used to work on at Navisoft, so I was very surprised that men edged out women. And then also, I was personally surprised that so few people are actually using Facebook on PC. I'll note here that iOS support wasn't added until halfway through this whole experience. In part, Facebook knew that this was going to go to mostly Android devices in some of these countries, but there was such an outcry from the audience that Facebook had to put developers on it and add it. And that sort of moved the US into the #1 spot. Again, it's important that you kind of reach out to these people because your voice matters and your vote matters. That's really important to us at Genvid. A little inspiration for everybody in the audience. Rival Peak was born out of this R&D project by Pipeworks Studio. They made this demo here. It was basically 10 AI that would sort of battle each other out, and over about 20 minutes, they would kill each other and leave one person standing. And all the people, the developers in their office, were just sort of transfixed watching this thing play out over and over and over again. We're the people that make watch experience, so they reached out to us, and they made this demo for us, where basically you could play God and launch various things in to help the contestants and maybe nudge the storyline one way or the other, determine which character is going to win. This was intriguing enough to Facebook that picked it up, and then it evolved into this multi-million-dollar project. The companies and the teams that are most interested in this tech are basically people that are working on narrative design, community-driven narrative design, people that are entering from the film industry because it really resonates with anybody that's worked with film. I've got developers in Norway. and they basically were looking at us, and they were looking at things that they could do with their game, and they talked to their advisors, and their advisor was like, have you thought of applying for a Norwegian Innovation Fund grant? And they ended up getting a grant, unlocking 50,000 euros, and they're building prototypes for us now. And then if you're an IP holder, now you have access to sort of countries and markets that have been difficult to get in the past. So again, a lot of IP holders or people that have worked with IP or that have access to IP are reaching out to us now. And then this is the Project Raven concept trailer. This, we're working with the well-known IP for this that is about to get announced sometime in March. The audience watching live streams is growing faster today than the games market. This is an expanding blue ocean. Again, we're platform agnostic, so pick the platform that best suits your audience for your mile, be it Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. Native cloud streaming reduces friction. There's absolutely nothing for the user to download or install. Just jump right into the game. It's all highly accessible. Thank you. There's a QR code here. Feel free to scan it. It's a feedback form. I'd like to iterate on this and get better at these talks. Still working on not being so nervous.
No, that was great, Chris. That was fantastic. Thank you very much. We've got a minute or two before our next speaker. So yeah, are you happy to take a question from? I see someone.
Sure. We've also got a booth downstairs. If there are questions, do feel free. Come talk to us. Happy to show you some other things that we've got.
I joined a bit late, so maybe you've covered this at the beginning. How would you create something that is continuous rather than something that runs for a certain number of weeks or days or weeks?
It depends on the gameplay. You know, do you want to have an ending? Do you need to have some sort of conflict resolution? We have projects that aren't going to be running 24/7. They could be running for a certain period of time during the day, so it really is more like appointment television. It really depends on the style of play that you want to have.
So how many different endings the Project Raven actually has? Because like you could go left, right, there's just so many combinations.
It's difficult to say, and I'm not super involved in the Project Raven concept itself. I know with Rival Peak, there were a number of possible endings that the conclusion could sort of come to, but how that was going to go, and ultimately there were 12 different characters, all of which had a chance to become sort of the winner at the end. It was a very interesting, challenging process actually, because when a character was eliminated, that we usually found that out on Friday, and then started this crazy development process for the Rival Speak program, because they would then remove all that character's dialogue out of the tree and everything, then sort of take all the inputs that all the users gave to understand where it was going and script things for the Rival Speak show. They would then shoot Will on Mondays, post-production on Tuesdays, and then we'd have the half-an-hour program to show while we basically took the game offline and uploaded the next week's content into it. So it was a crazy production schedule.
Maybe we have time for perhaps one more question. Oh, Brian, there you go. Thank you.
So you've been mentioning a lot about the game developers behind this. Have you had a lot of interest from the production companies, the big media companies, maybe even the video streaming services out there?
We're working with Hollywood companies on a couple IP projects that I can't talk about now.
Are any of them mouse-based?
Thank you. Well, look, let's leave it there. Chris Hamilton, thank you very much. Great, really good presentation.
Thanks.